The Death Egg has been destroyed. Goku and Tails managed to wipe out Eggman's bases on Westside Island before pursuing him to the Death Egg itself. There, the Saiyan fought a silver copy of himself alongside the Death Egg robot, a battle that ended with Goku suffering a hard-fought defeat at the machine's claws. However, Eggman's own hubris would prove his undoing. In an attempt to gloat, he forced Goku to stare into a celestial body, the Earth, triggering a transformation into the mighty Ozaru. The Great Ape, overcome by mindless rage, annihilated both the robot and the Doomsday Station. The Death Egg fell from orbit with Goku narrowly saved from crashing back to Earth by Tails. The station ultimately landing atop a strange island while Goku and Tails rode the Nimbus back to Westside Island. Goku spent the next few days resting and training, determined to surpass the Death Egg robot and whatever had been powerful enough to defeat it, the thought strangely unsettling to him. During this, Tails and Goku would grow closer, the fox spending his time working on his inventions and studying the incredible energy blast that Goku could unleash. Goku would adjust to the increased strength he got from the Zenkai boost, while at the same time, Tails made headway on a new invention based on the energy Goku gave off and the similarities between that and the Chaos Emerald's. Tails constructed a Chaos Emerald tracker, immediately showing it off to Goku. Tails explained he had been picking up energy frequencies that he believed belonged to the Chaos Emeralds originating from an island not too far away. What troubled him, however, was that to his knowledge that island didn't exist. Even more concerning was the massive interference surrounding the signals, as if the entire island was bathed in the energy of something incredibly powerful for a very long time. This only seemed to excite Goku on top of the prospect of finding his uncle's Chaos Emerald, while Tails guessed that the interference he was detecting might be residual energy from the Death Egg. But the two-tail was just as excited to investigate the mysterious island as Goku was, the two hopping onto the Nimbus and flying towards Angel Island together. As you can probably guess so far, today's What If is what if Goku landed on Mobius. If you've enjoyed this series so far, please like and subscribe. Back to our story. Unlike in canon, Goku does not already have all 7 Chaos Emeralds at the start of this adventure, so you'd have to wait for Tails to land like a normal person. The fox landing the biplane on the beach and the two would venture into the forest, Tails taking the lead with the radar going haywire in his hands. The kid trying to get the thing to work before an uppercut carrying the same power that in another world would knock the super out of supersonic burst from beneath the ground and slammed into the fox's chin, sending him flying and leaving him knocked out cold at Goku's feet. Goku immediately checked on his friend before staring down his attacker, his tail and hair spiking furiously as anger surged through him. Before him stood a tall red Echidna wearing boxing gloves with prominent spikes protruding from his massive fists. The attacker would announce himself Guardian of Angel Island and the Master Emerald, the last of the Echidna clan Knuckles. He'd say the doctor had already warned them about 2 power-hungry thieves and he wouldn't allow them to steal the Master Emerald or anything else on Angel Island. Before Knuckles could finish and tell the boy to leave, Goku rushed forward with a yell, lashing out with a powerful strike, nowhere near in the mood to allow his opponent to monologue. Knuckles barely dodged by burrowing into the ground, Goku staying on guard for another sneak attack before stepping back just in time as an uppercut whizzed past his head. Knuckles, surprised by the dodge, couldn't back away in time when Goku grabbed his wrist, attempting to slam the Echidna onto his back with a throw, only to fail, attempting to throw the Echidna akin to trying to move him out, and Goku gaping in shock as Knuckles simply lifted his arm up with Goku along with it. Knuckles snickered before throwing Goku off him towards one of the palm trees, but Goku righted himself midair, slamming into the top of the palm tree feet first, using the tree like a spring and launching himself back at Knuckles with extra speed. The Echidna, however, stood firm, readying a counter to Goku's approach before his brows raised in confusion, seeing Goku cup his hands and blue energy swirling between them. Oh no! Knuckles' eyes widened in shock as a blue beam erupted from Goku's palms. Shooting the Kamehameha backwards, the recoil propelled Goku forward at a far greater speed than Knuckles could counter, and smashing a fist through the Echidna's guard, rocking him and launching him backwards. Knuckles shaking it off and looking up to find Goku following him in a sequence of backflips, the Guardian raising his gloves just in time to catch a knee from hell aimed at his chest. The force still slamming him down into a small crater. Snarling, Knuckles gripped Goku's knee painfully and pushed, forcing the younger boy off him, and out of the crater, both fighters resetting and locking eyes in a tense stare down, the sound of their hearts pounding in their ears, neither of them being able to hide a small smirk. They both prepared to charge, but before either of them could, they both froze at Eggman's voice. Knuckles pulling out a small radio, the doctor barking at the Echidna to return the base. The last thing they needed was for him to be injured so soon. Knuckles moved to protest, but silenced himself before focusing back on Goku, complimenting the monkey boy on his spirit, but he and the doctor would soon snuff it out, promising to finish their battle soon enough. With that, Knuckles burrowed away, leaving Goku unable to follow. Goku would be annoyed at the Echidna running away and would promise to get revenge for Tails before heading back to his friend and waiting for him to wake up. Some time would pass and we see a construction site, the crash site of the Death Egg, retrofitted into a launch base, and Knuckles making his way through it, the down station looking far closer to the second iteration of its inspiration than the original. A small army of badniks made round-the-clock repairs to the great machine. The site pained Knuckles, but the doctor had promised that once the Death Egg was complete, the badniks would self-destruct, freeing their workers. Knuckles was able to at least partly justify this to himself with the end goal of protecting the Master Emerald. From there, Knuckles made his way to the hidden palace deep beneath Angel Island, where he found Eggman already present, lost in a trance as he studied a mural that would be very familiar to most of the audience. Ivo's grandfather had spent some years researching the ancient Echidna civilization, and now Eggman found himself doing the same thing. The thought to go through his grandfather's notes passed through his mind, something to occupy himself after he finished conquering the world. Done with his musings, Eggman broke their silence, turning to Knuckles and chastising him for running off. They needed to coordinate together as much as it pained Ivo to admit he needed this barbarian's help. Knuckles would offer a partial apology before turning back to the Great Mural. The Hidden Palace depicted many prophecies of the distant future, but one image always caught Knuckles' eye, a golden warrior locked in battle with a mustache golem. The two clashing over the Master Emeralds, Knuckles almost immediately recognizing the similarities between the golem and Eggman, and on top of Eggman's manipulations, he was pretty convinced that he needed to help the man. The mural obviously depicted Eggman protecting the Master Emerald. No way it could mean anything else. The only thing that was uncertain to Knuckles was the Golden Warrior and their identity. Goku nor Tails matched the person in the mural. Knuckles would ask the doctor about this, and he would have no real answers for the Echidna. Eggman would theorize that perhaps the prophecy was true when it was first inscribed by the ancient Echidna, but things outside of their purview had changed events to the point that this Golden Warrior may not appear at all. But never mind that. We've been staring at this mural for far too long. With their musings on Destiny done, Eggman would go on to explain that due to the increased damage to the Death Egg in comparison to canon, he wouldn't have as many materials to go around. As a result, what ended up on the chopping block was his latest and greatest machine, Warrior. At the word Warrior, Knuckles perked up and led his trusted ally into another chamber of the Hidden Palace. The chamber was filled with ancient armor sets ready to be used as the base for the machine. Eggman would look onto the chamber as plans formed in his mind, and he could barely contain the grin spreading across his face. Meanwhile, Tails would be waking up to find Goku sitting beside him, a small pile of fruit at his feet as he munched on a banana. Tails would slowly get his bearings, and Goku would be relieved that his friend was okay. Tails would ask what happened, and Goku would explain to the best of his ability everything that had occurred since he had been knocked out. Tails would guess that Knuckles was being tricked, and what Eggman really wanted was the Master Emerald. Goku would agree to try and talk some sense into the Echidna, but if he refused to listen to reason, he'd just have to beat it into him either way. With Tails caught up, the pair would head forward into Angel Island, and the events of Sonic 3 would play out very similarly to canon. The pair still going out of their way to collect all the Chaos Emeralds, not knowing Eggman had his eyes on a far greater prize. Goku and Tails would try their best to destroy the bomber, setting Angel Island's zone ablaze and protecting the animals, just catching Knuckles by surprise, but he'd still drop them in the Hydro City, the zone proving to be a breeze for the two, both knowing how to swim, make going through the ruins simple, the pair admiring the ancient architecture before being spat back up into Marble Garden. Goku would use a mixture of his new power pole made by Tails and low-powered Kamehamehas to navigate the zone's verticality. The pair were captivated by the garden and its beauty, destroying the tunnel bot when it began to cause earthquakes, trying to preserve as much of the area as possible, the zone ending with Goku and Tails fighting the Drillmobile in a manner similar to canon, Tails repeatedly launching Goku into the machine until Eggman was forced to retreat, the two pursuing him into Carnival Night. They were amazed, albeit very confused, to find a casino on an uninhabited island. Either way, they'd make their way through the zone, collecting an obscene amount of money before reaching the end. The pair using the cannon at the end of the zone to launch themselves to the peak of the island ice cap, Goku smashing into and haphazardly boarding a snowboard, hurtling down the slope nowhere near as effortlessly stylish as a certain blue bird when it came to things like this, before eventually crashing into an ice wall and falling into a pile of snow. Goku immediately thrashed free, shivering in the cold as he looked up to find Tails floating down the same, feeling a bit jealous that Tails was unaffected by the cold thanks to his fur. The two rushed down the snow peak, able to see the launch base zone in the distance, finally reaching the base where they braved the construction site, constantly bombarded by badniks and the Red Echidna dropping bombs on them from above, hindering their progress. Goku and Tails eventually getting close enough to feel the ground rumble as the Death Egg prepared to launch. They hurried forward, stealing an Eggmobile and flying through support beams. Before being stopped by Knuckles, the Echidna balancing on a support beam in their way, Tails tried to explain he was being tricked, but Knuckles wanted none of it, this only backfiring on the pair. Knuckles now seeing them as not just thieves, but liars as well. Before they could argue more, another boom from the Death Egg stresses rocked throughout the entire launch base, Knuckles losing his balance on the shaking pillar and falling. Caught by surprise, Knuckles wasn't immediately able to catch himself in a glide, grabbing the first thing he could and finding himself holding on to the end of Goku's power pole. the Guardian looking up in shock at the smiling monkey boy before letting go and gliding away, conflicting feelings running through his mind. Goku and Tails continued on as the Death Egg began to rise, jumping off just in time to land on a platform attached to the station, the platform rumbling as Eggman appeared, piloting the big arms mech. Eggman would declare through his speakers that he was almost glad that Knuckles had failed to be rid of the pair because now he got the pleasure of doing it himself. Goku just smirked, spreading into a stance before Robotnik smashed the mech's fist down, Goku dodging and causing Robotnik to smash the platform instead. The entire Death Egg trembled from the force of the blow, the thruster sputtered and the doctor didn't even notice, continuing to rain down blows on the pair. Both Goku and Tails quickly caught on and guided Robotnik into disabling his own machine. The Death Egg's rise slowed, then halted completely before it began to fall out of the sky entirely. Goku finished off the big arms with a Kamehameha, blowing half of it apart and causing it and Eggman to fall away from the platform. Goku and Tails following Eggman's example and jumping off the sinking ship soon after, Tails catching Goku and slowing their descent as they watched the station crash back down onto Angel Island, slamming into a tall peak and embedding itself into Lava Reef. Tails drifted down into Mushroom Hill, neither of them believing Eggman was tapped out, yet they continued forward through the island towards the crashed Death Egg, making their way up and through the flying battery, crashing down in Simopolis and eventually arriving at the Lava Reef. The tavern was filled with flowing lava and badniks, the heat rising to unreal levels thanks to the Death Egg and its lasers. Occasionally a massive mechanical hand would strike at them from the lava, but the two persisted. Eventually the tavern cooled and the lava was replaced with sparkling crystals as Goku and Tails reached the hidden palace. The pair were amazed by the ancient architecture as they made their way through the ruins until they reached a large chamber. At its heart stood a massive mural. Goku was immediately taken by it. It appeared to depict a prophecy, a great Eggman mech wielding the Master Emerald battling a blue hedgehog glowing gold. Before Goku could voice any of his thoughts, he felt Tails tug on his arms, pointing further into the chamber. Knuckles stood there, staring at the pair before slowly moving towards the center of the room. Goku told Tails to stand back, the fox immediately protesting and insisting that he could help, but Goku only smiled. He explained that it wasn't because he thought Tails wasn't strong enough to help, he just felt like he had to handle this on his own. Tails didn't fully understand the thought process, but he still nodded reluctantly, cheering for Sun as he and Knuckles squared off. The Echidna was surprised, admitting that Goku was more respectable than he had first thought, Goku suddenly remembering something and pulling out the power pole, tossing it over the Tails, leaving Knuckles even more perplexed. Goku explained that while he didn't think Knuckles was a bad guy, he still owed him a pounding for what he had done to Tails, and if he refused to see reason, he was just going to have to beat some sense into him with just his fists. At that declaration, Knuckles couldn't help but snicker. The two stood off for a moment before exploding into motion. Goku blocked a punch from Knuckles with his knee, wedging it between the spikes, Tails watching in awe as the two traded blows evenly. Knuckles used every bit of his skill and strength to tag the wildly evasive fighter in front of him, while Goku took advantage of his smaller size, higher agility, and extra limb to pepper the Echidna, finding openings wherever he could. Finding one, Goku charged forward, rocking Knuckles with a cross, followed up by a kick that sent the Guardian reeling. Stumbling back, Goku landed and bounced forward once again. Knuckles recomposed and launched another strike, only for Goku to dodge it by using the limb like a branch, swinging off it with his tail, only for Knuckles to react by slamming a hammer blow down on the back of Goku's head. The hit was hard enough to bounce him off the crystal floor and sent Knuckles up to send Goku flying across the chamber with another strike, slamming him into the far wall. Not wasting a beat, Knuckles rushed forward to pile on, smashing a fist into Goku's gut and cratering him into the wall before unleashing a hail of blows so fast his gloves seemed to ignite. When the Guardian was done, he held Goku up by the collar, the boy limp in his grip. The Echidna attempted to compliment Goku for fighting well, but this fight was now over but hissed halfway through as Knuckles dropped him and clutched his thumb in pain. Goku having been down on it, Goku straightened up and he was clearly hurt but nowhere near finished like Knuckles had thought. Goku wiped the blood from his mouth and admitted that Knuckles was probably the strongest person or thing he had ever fought before, to the point it was almost dumbfounding. At that, Knuckles laughed a little. Did that mean Goku was giving up? Goku shook his head. If anything, he was glad Knuckles was so strong. Even if he pushed himself to the limit, the Guardian wouldn't die. Admitting he had been holding back in their first round, Knuckles accused him of bluffing, but Goku only smirked, both of them sliding into their stances and facing off for a tense moment. Goku flashed forward in a blur of movement, a strike smashing at the Knuckles' jaw, snapping the Echidna's head back. Goku following up with a barrage of jabs to the gut, peppering him before sending him flying back with a kick. In another blur of speed, Goku was under the Guardian, delivering a mule kick to his back and sending Knuckles crashing into the crystal ceiling. Disoriented from crashing face first into the ceiling, Knuckles was unable to immediately go into a glide as Goku began charging a Kamehameha, only to stop halfway through and let Knuckles recover the Saiyan, not wanting the battle to end so soon. Knuckles recovered and landed and couldn't help but give off an air of excitement as well. They squared off once more, both wearing smiles before rushing at one another once again. So the slugfest between the last Echidna and the last Saiyan would go on for some time, until suddenly the wall ahead of them exploded stopping both fighters in their tracks as they stared into the now revealed Master Emerald Shrine. The cause of the explosion being Eggman the Doctor hovering inside, smirking as he floated beside the new machine. Sun stared at yet another metal version of himself, this Metal Goku deviating the most from his form. Extremely tall with much longer hair, Metal wore golden armor around his feet, wrist, and chest, and a red tunic around its waist. Eggman would officially introduce the machine as Mecha Goku Mark II and then yell for his creation to attack. Goku barely raised his guard before the machine rushed forward, the one main thruster on its back roaring as it smashed into Goku. Knuckles watched in disbelief before turning and shouting for Eggman to call off his machine. It was dishonorable to fight with it, especially with Goku choosing not to fight with his ally. At that, Eggman would actually agree, calling Mecha back. Knuckles moved to apologize to Goku before hearing a heavy dink, turning around to find the robot standing atop the Master Emerald. Knuckles roared for Eggman to get his machine off the emerald, only for Eggman to cackle in response. He declared that while it was fun to pull the wool over the Echidna's eyes, Knuckles' usefulness had long since run out and ordered Mecha to tear the two to pieces. At that, the Goku robot began to power up, drawing energy from the Master Emerald. A green aura built around it until the room exploded in green light. Goku, Knuckles, and Tails stared in shock as the light died down, revealing Mecha had somehow grown larger, its black metal hair now glowing green. Eggman having a super form to base his creation off would just have to end up weighing it, ending up with green hair. Pretty quickly realizing they had a common enemy, Goku and Knuckles squared off together, the rockets on Mecha roaring as it launched forward, smashing a double lariat into the two rivals and sending them flying back. The machine catching up with them in midair, grabbing them by the heads and dragging them through the crystal floor before hurling them forward with point-blank energy blast, slamming them into craters on either side of Tails. Knuckles and Goku slowly pulled themselves from the rubble with Tails joining them, the kid silently panicking. The machine, empowered into a super state by the Master Emerald, had none of the weaknesses the previous Metal and Mecha Gokus had possessed. It was fast, agile, and fluid in its movement, dodging all of the trio's attacks before spinning into a brutal sequence of strikes, sending all three of them flying into different directions. The machine seemed especially fixated on Goku. It rocketed into the air towards him just as Goku cratered into the ceiling, the boy firing a Kamehameha downwards, but the Mecha flew straight through the beam, an energy seal bursting around it to protect it. Mecha grabbed Goku by the leg and hurled him into the floor, Goku hitting hard enough to bounce off, barely managing to roll out of the way before Mecha came crashing back down in a stomp, the shockwave blasting him across the room. Goku flailed before smashing into the Eggmobile, bouncing off and slamming atop the Master Emerald. Eggman yelled for Mecha to be more careful, but the robot didn't seem to respond, continuing its assault intent on turning Knuckles and Tails into mincemeat. Eggman felt a flicker of worry at his unresponsive machine, but still found the time to sneer down at Goku as the Saiyan started to pull himself upright, the Master Emerald pulsing faintly, syncing with the Chaos Emeralds in the pouch around Goku's waist. Eggman would mock the boy, claiming that Mecha was far beyond the power Goku had used to destroy the Death Egg. At that, Goku froze, turning around and barking for Eggman to explain what he had meant. Eggman quickly deducing that Goku had no idea that he could transform into a giant monkey and would simply say he wasn't in the business of making his enemies stronger. With Eggman being useless, Goku would turn back around to find Tails and Knuckles being dominated by Mecha. Sun focused, drawing out every bit of power he could muster before rushing back in to help, the Master Emerald pulsing once again. As he searched his mind and body for hidden power, a roar echoing in his mind as his power spiked, a second wind surging through him. Goku's power up here with the Master Emerald being essentially the same as when he got his potential unlocked with Master Korin. Obviously, this is like kind of a stretch, but like if you interpret the Super Emeralds as like the Master Emerald like unlocking power that's already there instead of like granting more power, it's doing the same thing with Goku basically. Might be a bit of a stretch, but I don't think it's that egregious. But back to our main story, the Mecha turned around, its power reader spiking at the newly awakened threat. Ignoring Knuckles and Tails, it launched itself towards Goku. Power surging through Goku and now able to keep pace with the machine, he dodged under its attack and smashed the chop into its side, sending it flying towards Knuckles. And seeing that their opponent could be beaten only invigorated the others as well, Knuckles smashing the robot upwards towards Tails. The fox following up by slamming both of his tails down on the machine's head, sending it bouncing back to the ground. The machine's aura flickered for a moment as its hair flashed back before it went back to green as it charged towards Goku once again. The more damage the machine took, the faster it would leak energy, and the less energy it had, the more damage it would take, a vicious cycle that turned the tide of the battle into our hero's favor. Attacks it could once ignore now did real damage, and the speed that allowed it to dominate three opponents at once failed it. The fight ending with Knuckles catching the machine with a blazing uppercut, tearing its chest open, and Goku finishing it off with a max power Kamehameha, the beam boring through the ground until it hit the ocean, Mecha being washed away to an unknown fate. With the fight over, Goku and Tails struggled to catch their breath while Knuckles Knuckles immediately rushed towards the Master Emerald now attached to the Eggmobile of a fleeing Eggman. Knuckles leaping up and trying to grab onto the Master Emerald only for Eggman to shock him off. Combined with the damage he had already taken, the jolt sent Knuckles collapsing to the floor, Eggman escaping before Goku or Tails could give chase. Realizing there was no point in chasing the Doctor on foot in their injured states, Knuckles led Goku and Tails to the Sky Sanctuary teleporter. He apologized for not believing the pair not having the strength to do it himself. He'd asked them to recover the Master Emerald for him. The pair accepting immediately passed, grudges forgotten after fighting alongside one another. Goku especially eager to finish Eggman in the Death Egg for good. So the two stepped inside the transporter, Goku feeling a sense of weightlessness before they were transported high into the sky in a beam of red light. The two reappearing in the Sky Sanctuary, Goku looked up over the clouds just in time to see the Death Egg rising once more. The space station now powered by the Master Emerald. As robotic forces bearing the visors of the Doctor flooded into the zone, Eggman already anticipating their pursuit. With his stamina restored by his unlocked potential, Goku blitzed forward with Tails at his heels, the strain of the many battles wearing on the Fox. When they reached the top of the final tower, neither of them would have enough speed to use it as a ramp to launch towards the station. Before Goku would feel Tails grab his arms and lift them as high as possible before the Fox launched him towards the Death Egg. Goku barely managing to grab onto the station as it blasted higher and higher, the Saiyan flashing a peace sign down at Tails before pulling himself inside. Making his way through the Death Egg, Goku eventually reached the final chamber, Eggman waiting inside. From below, something enormous pulled itself up, a giant three-fingered hand reaching for Goku. It was the same hand from Lava Reef, now attached to a towering egg robo, Goku staring up in awe. Eggman's voice boomed through the speakers as he smashed the mech's fist down, telling Goku to tremble before the machine and the power of the Master Emerald. The wind from the mech just moving was so powerful that Goku had to brace himself, but the boy did not tremble. He only smirked and slid into his stance, staring straight through the machine and directly at Eggman himself, remarking that he was a little disappointed. Compared to last time, this mech wasn't nearly as scary. That was enough to send Eggman into a rage, the machine opening its mouth, the Master Emerald glowing behind the glass panel before it fired a massive laser. Goku barely dodged the beam as it tore through the floor, drilling so deep he couldn't even see the bottom. If it had hit him directly, he probably would have died. From there, the battle began. Goku dodged swipes from the mech's hands and the occasional mouth blast, destroying the mech's fingers in the process. With the machine's hands destroyed, Eggman was forced to rely mainly on laser attack, occasionally blasting fire from the machine's nose to deny Goku any openings to attack. But still, Goku found ways to get close enough to strike, smashing the Master Emerald's glass casing more and more with each strike, until the giant egg robot was on its last legs, Eggman beginning to charge the laser to its absolute limit for one final Hail Mary, angling the blast so there would be nowhere to dodge. Heedless of the danger, Goku rushed forward, determined to destroy the machine before it could fire. He slammed his fist into the glass one final time. A split second before the beam could be released, the casing shattered, but with no lens to focus the Master Emerald's power, the machine overloaded and exploded in a chaos-fueled fireball. Goku nearly dead centered in the blast. He was sent ragdolling across the chamber, and it felt like nearly every bone in his body was broken. The only thing he could still move was his right arm. Goku looked up, and of course, Eggman had gotten out of the explosion scot-free, the Eggmobile floating out of the wreckage of the giant egg robo. The Master Emerald now tethered to it as the entire Death Egg rumbled, the station beginning to fall out of orbit from the strain of their battle. The explosion had destroyed much of that area of the ship. Even the final weapon hadn't survived. The only thing left to be used as an escape vessel for the Doctor was the Death Egg robot. With the emerald firmly in the machine's grasp, Robotnik would turn back around to the boy and laugh. He was upset he wasn't able to kill Goku himself, but he was confident the fall would finish the job for him, with Goku already 3/4 of the way there. With that, Eggman would fly away. Goku watched Eggman drift further and further into space, sun gritting his teeth before he clenched his fist and focused, pouring all of his remaining energy into it until a small aura burst around his fist. Goku firing a Kamehameha at the ground, watching himself upwards towards the fleeing Death Egg, an aura blazing around his fist as he focused all of his strength into it. The Chaos Emeralds at his waist glowing brilliantly, Goku unconsciously harnessing their power, allowing him to survive in the vacuum of space. His hair spiked even further, his eyes flashed red as his hair and tail turned gold. The aura around his fist burned brilliant gold as he rocketed towards Eggman. The Doctor desperately flew away, the roar of the Uzaru growing louder and louder as Goku moved faster and faster until for just a moment his hair turned pure white and his aura flashed every color of the rainbow. Then he punched straight through the back of the Death Egg robot and at its chest, ripping the Master Emerald free from its grasp. Goku barely had enough time to look back before he was launched away by a massive explosion, the Emerald's power draining from him as he re-entered Earth's atmosphere, clutching the massive gem with his good arm as tightly as he could. Our hero will once again be saved by Tails, accompanied by Knuckles. Riding the Nimbus together, they flew back to Angel Island, heading for another Master Emerald Shrine, the previous one having been far too damaged to remain a suitable resting place for the Emerald. With the Death Egg gone and the Master Emerald returned, the island began to rise into the sky once more, much to Tails and Goku's amazement. Knuckles gently placed Goku atop the Master Emerald in the gem post with energy of the light washing over him and healed his injuries just enough that he could stand. With another post of Chaos Emeralds in Goku's possession lifted away from him and ascended into the sky, repairing the damage the Eggman had done to the island just like they had done in Sonic 1. Goku watched in awe, and when the process finished, he suddenly jumped up and grabbed the light blue Chaos Emerald before it could shoot away. Knuckles immediately yelled at him for interrupting the ritual, but Goku only snickered and rubbed the back of his head, saying it was sentimental to him right until the emerald suddenly teleported from his hands. He stared at the empty space completely dumbfounded before shrugging. He figured he could always just find it himself some other time. With everything settled, Knuckles once again apologized for his earlier hard-headedness before asking them to leave, now on good terms. Instead, Goku and Tails would ask if they could stay. Goku wanted time to heal and train, especially to fight Knuckles once again, and Tails wanted to remain on the island to study its mysteries. Knuckles hesitated for a minute, but eventually agreed. So some time would pass and Knuckles would notice Goku starting to outstrip him, and we began to train alongside Goku, with Tails occasionally joining in. The older boys' methods building up their fundamentals and increasing their stamina by training in the thinner air of Angel Island, similar to the training on Kami's Lookout. I think most of you can guess where I'm going with this, but with a stronger Knuckles, Tails, and Goku, the rest of the classic era is just going to be a breeze with the trio working together. Goku would still meet familiar faces like Team Chaotix, Mighty and Ray, the Hooligans, and Trip, and being on Angel Island would naturally tie him into some side games like Ghost Chaotix. However, Elemental Goku Pi wouldn't appear, mostly for plot reasons. I just want to save something like that for later. So after about a year, Tails would leave Angel Island with Goku letting him borrow the Nimbus. And another year and a half would pass before Goku would leave himself wandering around the world like he'd do between the 21st and 22nd Budokai, honing his skills for his next adventure, whatever that may be. Oh, and before I go, I want to thank you for watching. I know this video is a bit long, I'm gonna be honest, and for how long this video took to come out, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. But I hope to see you again next time. Bye.